Okay, so we're just about getting up to time. I've got a few seconds left, but we'll get started. So for those of you that don't already know me, my name's Alice Langley. I'm seeing quite a few familiar names on here, which is great. But just to give a brief introduction, I am an account manager for Toby Dynavox in the UK. So I support sales within my region. And I'm also a speech and language therapist. So I have about 9 years of experience in paediatrics. So worked with quite a wide range of children from 2 up to about 19 and lots of different settings. And part of my role here in Toby Dynavox is to support and deliver training sessions just like today's. So normally I do quite a lot of face-to-face training, so I go into different settings, be it education, be it hospital-based, be it clinical-based. Obviously at the moment we're kind of getting used to doing a lot of this more virtually. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it now. So I'm just going to briefly go through a couple of bits about Zoom and how to interact with this activity. So you'll notice from your toolbar on Zoom that there's a chat button. So please feel free to put anything in there, whether it's a comment or a question. I've got my colleague Cameron with me today. So what he'll do is he'll keep an eye on the chat room and he will answer questions as they come in. And I'll be taking kind of pauses throughout as well. There's not a lot of us today, so if anybody wants to ask a question, you can either do it via the chat window or feel free to unmute your microphone and just jump in as and when. Just before we get started, as I said, there's a lot of familiar names on here, so I think a few of you have already attended some of these sessions, but just in case you're not aware, or just to kind of bring you up to date, we're running this series of modules around Snap Core First throughout June. And so today we're doing the Do More with Snap Core First, but previously I've run 3 more modules before that. We're actually running each of these modules twice, so if there's any modules that we've already covered that you missed and you'd like to attend, I'm doing Getting Started with Snap Core First again on Friday. That's 10:30 UK time. But I'm running another session on the 17th around communication partner skills. And on the 15th, I'm running another session around customizing Core First. I will be sending out the slides from today along with a recording of today's session. So I'll give you a link to the recording for this. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can do so. A lot of the features that we'll be going through today is mostly just going to be kind of highlighting different features that are within Snap. But if you would like kind of a more detailed sort of demo on any of these, or you've got more specific questions, or you know, when we're allowed, you'd like us to come in and show you how some of these work, please get in touch with your local account manager. What they could do is they can do sort of more personalised training, so whether it's something specific to your team or a specific to a client, we can do some more demos around software and also hardware. So it might be that you want to get a little bit more information about the devices that are out there and how they interact with the software that we're going to be talking about today. If you're based in the UK, you can follow this link here and it'll tell you who your local account manager is, or we've got our office details down here. If you're based from outside of the UK, there's a link down here that will take you to finding out your local rep as well. As I say, I will send this slide over to you so you'll have these details, so you'll be able to follow those links. So today we're going to have a look at some other features within Snap that kind of go a little bit beyond the kind of traditional communicating, and will hopefully give you a bit of an idea of other things that your learners or anybody that you're kind of working with or interacting with can do with their communication software. So we're going to briefly cover these topics today. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at things like TV remotes, using Alexa, Google Home, Siri, integrating Boardmaker Student Centre, a little gadget called Access IT, and also I'm going to highlight how we do page printing and within Snap Core First as well. So I will be going through kind of each of these, as I say, fairly briefly. So if you'd like a little bit more help on kind of setting up some of these, whether it's TV remotes or editing Alexa homepage page sets, then as I say, please get in touch with us, and we'll happily run kind of the session on a more individual basis. So first of all, looking at remotes. So within some of our Tobii Dynavox devices, such as the Indie or the I-Series, they're equipped with an IR transmitter, which can basically be used through Snap Core First software. So this enables devices to be used as a remote control for equipment like TV, stereos. So if we've got somebody that's using an Indie or any of our devices that might be mounted onto their wheelchair, and they want to have access to things within their environment, they can do so using these page sets that are available within Snap Core First. So I will, at the end, I'll kind of take you through briefly how to find all of these, but as you can see on the screen, you can access this by going to the dashboard on your Snap Core First software. There's a little tab that's called Remotes, and then you'll see in there we've got some preset buttons. So you could do things like, you know, volume up, volume down, channel up, channel down. We're basically trying to emulate what's on our remote control that we can use to access our TV. So all of these buttons are kind of pre-programmed to use. And the idea is that this is kind of just one of the tools that kind of enables us to control our environment. So this can increase our independence and engagement in things like play, home life, etc. So it gives a little bit more independence, certainly for our slightly older users or our adults that are using Snap Core First. It allows them to you know, control their TV without having to rely on a carer or an adult. In order to be able to add a remote, so if there's a particular button that you want to program within the system that's maybe not already available in the pre-made page set that we have got, you basically do this via adding an action to that button. So you go to your edit button as normal, you find the button that you want to add, so it might be already on one of these pages. So I might want to say edit this favorite channel. And maybe my favorite channel is CBeebies. So what we want to do is that when that button's selected, it will put CBeebies on. So what we'll do is we'll go in, we'll hit edit, we'll select that favorite channel 1 button, and then we'll go to add an action, which is available within our editing buttons. And we need to select this send IR signal button. Once you open that up, it's going to give you this little kind of instructions that help you add a button, and it basically talks you through it. So it'll say, point the remote at the transmitter on your device. If you're not sure where the transmitter is, get in touch with us, but normally they're on the back by the speakers. You press this record button here, and then you press the button on your remote. The status will kind of indicate when to release that button. So it will say, okay, ready to record. And then once it's done, it will say recorded. You can test it to see if that works. And once you're happy with that, you hit done, and it's recorded that signal. And so that when you go to hit that button, it will perform that command for you. So in this instance, it will open up my favorite channel. So using the kind of remotes through Snap is a really good way of introducing some kind of environmental control to some of our learners. And again, as I said, kind of increasing independence a little bit too. Oh, I forgot how I was on here. I always forget that. Next one that I'll talk through is use of Alexa, Google Home, or Siri. So we know that these are really, really good kind of mainstream services that are available to us that are starting to come into homes much more frequently. So I know, you know, I've got a couple of Alexas in my house and I use it quite a lot. And so what we've done is we've integrated them again into the dashboard. So when you go into your dashboard, you'll notice that we've got all 3 available. So you've got the Google Home, Alexa, and we also do Siri as well. Obviously, just to note that you'll need to have one of these devices in order for it to work. And then what we've done once you click on those is, again, we've created kind of a pre-made page set that will allow you to use that device. So in this instance, we've got the Google Home. And what we've done is as I say, we've kind of preset some kind of common commands that we have that we use for using these devices. So the thing to note here is that these pages will work by speaking aloud to in this instance, Google Home. And what we've done is we've preset each of the buttons to have the precursor. So in this instance, in order to activate Google Home, we have to say, OK, Google. So each of these buttons will have OK, Google, and then the command. Just laughing there because my phone's just pinged up because I've got a Google phone. So just something to note that if you are wanting to add buttons on here for different commands, just to make sure that you put that preset of OK Google or Alexa or Siri in front of it. So what we've done is we've included some functions like broadcasting, calling, home controls. So in some cases you might, I've just recently got some smart light bulbs, so I can use my Alexa to switch lights on and off, to dim them, to put different settings on. So you could incorporate that into Snap Call First as well. As I say, we've kind of put some of the kind of main stuff on there, but it might be that there's specific commands that you want to ask, and you can add those by editing the buttons. So again, this is just another way that can sort of allow our users to engage in the world around them, just using mainstream devices that are available. So different uses really for them, just a bit of fun. There's some really nice, on Google Home and Alexa, there's some really nice kind of games that you can play with kids. You can get it to tell you jokes. There's some really nice sort of yes/no games that you can play on there. Obviously, you can get it to control things like music, so you can get it to play certain songs. And you can also do things like ask it fun facts. So it might be that you want to, you know, incorporate it into your learning. So you're doing a certain topic, and you might want to ask Alexa certain facts about planets or whatever it is. So just some really nice ways of kind of thinking about how you can use the environment around you. A really kind of fun tool. And as I say, it's something that's, you know, starting to become quite integrated into homes these days. So it'll probably be something that I know my nephews and nieces love using their Alexa to ask it silly questions and things like that. So it's another way to allow our users to access that as well. Do we have any questions? I don't see anything in the chat. Has anybody got any questions or comments at this point?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat window.
Okay, perfect, cool. Right, so I'll move on. So I just want to show you a little bit about how to integrate the Boardmaker Student Centre. So some of you might be familiar with Boardmaker, some of you may not. So I'll just kind of give a brief description. The Boardmaker Student Centre is basically an app through which you can access different activities used to create Boardmaker, created by using Boardmaker Online. So this could be anything from books to learning schedules to games to curriculum activities. And so for some settings that are already using Boardmaker Online, what we've done is we've integrated a way to launch this app through Snap, so that you can kind of seamlessly use it with your learners within, you know, a classroom or wherever it is that you're using that. So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. Again, on the dashboard, there's a button that says Launch Applications. So you can use this to launch a couple of different apps. You can choose the Boardmaker Student Centre on there, and then it will open it up. And I'll show you, I'll need to demo this a little bit to kind of maybe put a little bit more context to it. But this will allow you to open up activities straight from there. So for those of you that are maybe already familiar with Boardmaker or using it, this is a really good way of kind of linking the two, and you can switch between Snap into the Boardmaker Student Centre to complete an activity, and then back into Snap to communicate about that as well. And I'll do a little demo towards the end of this to show you, and hopefully it'll kind of put it into a little bit more context. Other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Access It IT. This may or may not be something that you guys are familiar with, but I thought it was worth including in this because it's a really, really useful tool. So the Access It IT is a USB accessory that plugs directly into any computer and basically allows you to send keyboard and mouse controls using SnapCall first. So it's a really kind of simple way of controlling a computer. You can even use it on a phone or a smart TV. And what it will do is it will emulate the movement of a mouse or a keyboard so that you can control that computer. So it's the other thing that's worth, so it does it through wirelessly through Bluetooth. The great thing about it is that there's no kind of installer or drivers or anything needed. You can literally just plug it into any computer. The user's device will recognize that, connect wirelessly, and then you can kind of go ahead and use it. So a couple of different kind of users for it is things like it might give a student an opportunity to complete homework. So they might need to access a Word document or something like that. They can even, surf the web with it. We've got some program pages for things like Facebook, Gmail, Word, WhatsApp, just web browsing in general. So if you think about maybe a user that's kind of still using symbol-based software, so still using Snap, but wants to kind of broaden their use of computer a little bit, they can do that really nicely with an Access IT. So this is just a little USB. It costs £75, and as I said, can be plugged into any computer. Smart TV also works with phones as well. So it brings a sense of kind of independence and freedom from that as well. So again, this is all about being able to control other things around your environment and accessing kind of mainstream technology just like everybody else can. So it does support all access methods. So it can be used with somebody that's using eye gaze or switch scanner or just a touch device as well. And again, when I come into the demo, I'll show you kind of what some of these pages look like and some of the functionality behind it as well. I will be sending you, within the PowerPoint, I'll send you a link to a YouTube video that goes into, explains it a little bit more and does a little demo. So hopefully you'll be able to watch that and it'll give a little bit of context as to how that works as well. The last thing that I wanted to touch on was page printing within SnapCall First. This is a fairly new feature that's come in the past couple of months, something that people have been asking for quite a long time. We know that being able to have sort of a low-tech version of somebody's communication system is really important for a couple of reasons. It could be as a backup, when maybe technology has failed us, or whether it's for using in different environments. So we might want to have a paper-based version of their system so we can use it maybe in the pool or in the car or in different situations. Or it might be that we would like to have a paper-based version so that any adult or carer that's working with that person can use that for modelling. So rather than kind of using the person's device to model, they can do it on their paper-based version as well. So again, I'll show you how that looks, but basically what you can do is in edit mode, you go onto a page, there'll be a little print symbol. It'll then pop up this tool that will allow you to select the pages that you want to print. Obviously you can select all, but it might be that you just want sort of some of the main tools. So you might want core words, quick fires, a couple of topic pages. Then you basically go through, it then gives you an option to select how you'd like that to look. So it might be that if you're using it for modelling, you might not want to have the message bar on there, so you can take that off. You'll probably keep the toolbar for modelling. So you can basically select a couple of options as to how you want that page or those pages to look, and then you hit print, and then you can go ahead and print those pages off. So a really nice, easy way of getting a low-tech version of that user's page set. Do we have any questions?
Can't see any in the chat window.
No? Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly open Snap and show you a couple of how to find a couple of these things. So let me just... so the first thing is the majority of what I've talked about today is going to be found on the dashboard. So when you open Snap Core first, the dashboard is actually available in a couple of ways. The main one is on the toolbar. So you can see down here, I can access the dashboard there. This button, of course, is accessible for our users, so they can go straight into the dashboard and then choose where they want to go next. The other way of accessing the dashboard is up here on this top bar. But of course, this button isn't accessible for eye gaze or switch, so is more used by communication partners. But I would say the majority of people are just going to show, model, or access the dashboard through this toolbar here. Here are the remotes that I talked about. So you sort of see here that we've got a couple of kind of preset versions. So for here in the UK, we use Freeview and Sky, which is kind of like cable TV. I'm not fully aware of what's available outside of on non-UK versions, but if you go into your remote, you'll have a look and see what's been created. But you can see here that we've straight away put in some features like volume up, channel up, play, pause, up and down for searching through pages, power, so you can switch it on and off. And then, of course, you can go ahead and do things like select a channel number as well. So it's worth kind of going in to have a look at that. As I mentioned before, we've even got presets where you can do like shortcuts to your favorite channels. So that might be quite a useful one. And things like input, so if you want to switch to HDMI or something else to access your TV. So that's where our remotes are located on that dashboard there. Just seen a message pop up. Cameron, is it something that...
So yeah, it's relating, asking, can you add more buttons? So
yes.
like TV, preview, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll show you how to do that. It's really good, thank you. I forgot to mention that. So if I wanted to add something else, let me go into TV. I would do it just like I have in editing anything else in Snapcore first. I'll come up to my edit button. I'll find an empty square, and then let's say I want to put in a button for BBC One. I would fill that in as normal, can choose a symbol if I want, or a photo. And then what I need to do is I need to scroll down a little bit to where it says actions. And then what I need to do is I need to add the action of sending an IR signal to the TV. Because at the moment, at this button, all that will do is just read that out. But what I want it to do is select that channel when I select it. So I'm going to come to add action, and then I'm going to scroll through, and I'll get to a section. I've already passed it. Remotes. So I'm going to click on here where it says send IR signal, and then it's going to pop this little tool open. So this is, again, it's just got the instructions at the top, but basically what I do is I take my remote control, I press record on here, and then I press the button, the desired button on the remote control, the desired combination of buttons, point it towards the receiver. As I said, on most of our devices, it's back towards where the speakers are. And then the status here will tell you when it's recorded that, and then you can test it. And then once that's, you're happy with that, you click done. And then that will now set up that button to send that IR signal. I hope that's answered that. Okay, next one was looking at Alexa, Google Home, and Siri. So if I just go into this Alexa page set. So again, we've put some preset stuff in here, but again, if you wanted to add buttons, you could do. But if I just show you, we've got
Alexa, stop.
You can hear that. And then, as I say, we've got some of the kind of main features that we use in here. So things like, you know, Alexa play, Alexa stop. We've put things like play the Beatles. But let's say that, I don't know, I was a big Justin Bieber fan, and we wanted to have a button that would just ask to play Justin Bieber. Again, I'm just going to come in, edit that. And then I need to make sure, because in order to activate that Alexa, I need to have that prefix of Alexa and then whatever my command is. So in the label, I'm going to say Alexa, play Justin Bieber. And again, I can add a picture to that. Now, because we're just using voice control, we don't need to add any actions to this. We just need to make sure that we've got that Alexa or that OK Google or Hello Siri or whatever it is, and the prefixes that's needed for that device. And then I hit done.
Alexa, play Justin Bieber.
Snap's going to speak that out, and hopefully my device will pick that up. My Alexa will pick that up and then play that command. So same kind of editing of buttons. As I said, we've put a bunch of different things on here. So, you know, tell me a joke, tell me a story. There's some really nice ones in there, like, you know, roll a dice or flip a coin. So if you want somebody that maybe you're playing a board game, they don't necessarily have access to that kind of thing, rather than getting somebody else to roll a dice for them, sometimes getting Alexa involved is quite nice, quite fun. And it, again, gives a bit of a sense of independence during those activities too. So go and explore those, give it a go maybe at home if you've got one of those devices. They work really, really well. I really like those functions. Next one is launching applications. So we talked about the Boardmaker Student Centre. So in here, I can just select Boardmaker Student Centre and it's going to open that up for me. And then now, using my access method, I can come in and I can, it might be that my teacher set some assignments for me to do at home. So I can come in, select assignments, and then I can open up these different activities. And again, it's going to use my access method. So this is a sorting activity. So I'm going to come in and do that. Oops. And then once I've done with that, you'll notice up here, there's a little button that will actually just take me straight back into Snap. So you've got a way of kind of switching between the two so they don't get kind of stuck if they go sort of straight into there. The other way of doing that is you can actually set the Boardmaker Student Centre to open specific activities. So if I'm a speech and language therapist or a teacher and I've set some activities for that student and we might be doing it during a specific lesson or a session that we're doing, rather than getting them to kind of open up the student centre and then navigate it that way, I might want to actually just create a button that opens a specific activity. So I'm going to show you an example of how I've done that and how you might want to do that. So for example, in this, what I've done is I've gone into my topics, into my classroom topic, and it might be that we're using this during our conversation. And actually during this session that we're doing together in the classroom, I want us to read the book Go, which is part of the Core First Learning books. So what I've actually done here is I've created a button that's going to take me straight into that book. So rather than having to open up the Student Centre and find it, I've actually just linked it straight into there. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So again, like with Anyway, just going to edit a button. So I'm going to come up to my edit button. I'll just select this one next to it here. I'm going to put matching activity in there. So let's say we're going to do a matching activity. And again, this time I need to add an action. And I'm going to scroll down until I can never remember which this one's called. It's after accessibility. Launch other apps. I'm going to select Boardmaker Student Centre. And then if I come down here, it says, it gives me the option here to launch a particular activity. So I'm going to switch that on because I want to open a specific activity. And I'm going to scroll through here. And at the moment, these are all of the activities that are currently available through the free activities. So if I come, there it is, matching game. Select that, click on go, and then now it's going to open up that activity for me to play.
Find the pairs that are the same.
Something just to note of the Boardmaker Student Centre. If your learner is using a Tobii Dynavox device, they will already have this app pre-installed on there. It will have come ready. And when you open that app, it gives you two options. It gives you this free stuff, which anybody can have access to, so you don't need any kind of subscription for Boardmaker. You could just go in there and access it. And it gives you things like access games, maths tools. It gives you the first 12 words of core first learning, and then a couple of other curriculum as well. So regardless of whether you've got a Boardmaker Online account or not, you can access some activities through there. And if you do have a Boardmaker Online account and you set up a student for that person, they can log in and then access their activities via there as well. Realising the time, so I'm just going to move on. Just to briefly show you the access it tools. So as I said, we've got some preset pages on here. So for example, if I go to Facebook, it's got some preset commands that will help me do things like post a comment, and I can put some preset comments in there if I want, or if I want to type type a message in there, I can do that as well. Other things like accessing a Word document, so I can do things like move my cursor, and I can add files in there, and I can write text. Well worth kind of having a little bit of a think about that. It's a really, really good way of getting easy access to a computer. And then the very last thing that I want to do is just very quickly show you page printing. So what I'm going to do here, and again, I've got a really nice video that I'll send you the link to. This will take you through all of these steps as well. But again, I'm going to come to my edit button. I'm going to come down to my toolbar and I'm going to select page. And then there's two ways that I can access this. Over the right hand side, I can just click up this little printer button here. Or if I come to the left hand side, there's an icon that says print pages. Takes me to the same tool. And then here, what it will do is it will automatically select the page that I'm already on. But if there's several pages that I want to add, I can go through and I can search for them and I can add them. Or if I click on recently opened, it will show me maybe the pages that I've used more recently. So I might want to go ahead and click on some of those. I might, if I come into here, I can search for pages. So I might want to go and add that cooking page. Once I'm happy with my pages, I click on next. This is where I'm going to select how I want that page to look. So if I'm using this as a low-tech backup, I probably don't really need the message window because I'm not going to be inputting anything on there. So I can actually take that off. So it maximizes my use of that page. And then I can go ahead and print that, and it'll print off those pages that I've selected. So a really nice, easy way of printing off a low-tech version of our systems. That is everything that I wanted to cover today. I hope you found that useful. I hope you've learned a couple of more things about functions that are available within Snap. I'm happy to take some questions if anybody's got questions. If not, thank you very much for attending, and hopefully see you again this week at some other webinars that we'll be delivering. As I say, I'll hold on for a few more minutes. If anybody's got questions, you can either unmute or you can put them in the chat window. Oh, I'm glad you found that useful, Michelle. Thanks, Angie. It's great to see you. I'm glad you both found it useful, Christina and Kirsty. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Ibrahim.